Right, we're on the night shift. We're here at Dungeness B Power Station, and we've got this gentleman out of his bed to talk to us. Fred, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Show us around the place.
Yeah, let's go in. We're going to go up to the main control room, the nerve centre of the B station now, OK?
Right. Now, I have to say that I worked for the Electricity Board about 20 years ago.
Yeah?
In like the early 60s.
Yeah.
And if anyone had asked me then the future of nuclear power, I'd have said to them, well, I put money on in 10 or 15 years' time, almost all of our electricity would come from nuclear power. Why hasn't that happened?
I don't think it would be right for the country for all of our electricity to come from nuclear power. I think we really ought to have a mix of power, and that's what we've got, a nice big mix between nuclear power, coal and oil.
I mean, how do you feel about this, the business about the coal miners at the moment?
Well, I think we're natural partners, we and the miners. We were when we were CEGB, and although we are in competition in a way now, being separate companies, I feel that we're natural partners together.
I mean, because actually even the Germans are saying our coal is probably one of the most efficient coal-producing countries in Europe, and yet we're kind of turning our back on that.
I don't believe we're turning our back on it. All we're doing is reducing our dependence on coal. You know,
we're just waiting for the lift, by the way.
We're not getting rid of it completely, are we? We're just reducing our dependence on it.
That's right. Are we increasing our dependence on nuclear fuel?
Not really. I think over the next 10 years we might bring on 1 or 2 new power stations, but in bringing on 1 or 2 new power stations, we'll still maintain the same level because we'll be closing down 1 or 2 of the older ones.
Right. We're actually in the turbine room, Fred, aren't we?
Yeah.
But I can see something happening in front of us that doesn't actually look like it should be happening here.
No,
it's one of these great white containers. What's inside this thing?
What we're doing here is we're loading a flask from the cooling ponds over there into this loading bay. If we go down here, I'll just show you it. And we're loading this flask onto the trailer, and it'll be loaded on there and taken off tomorrow morning, or this morning, off to Sellafield for reprocessing.
What's actually inside that thing?
Inside there is used fuel, which has been in the reactors, and it's now being taken off for reprocessing.
Are these the kind of metal tubes that we've seen being stripped inside machinery?
Yeah.
They're inside there?
Yeah, they're inside there.
Right. And when they get to Sellafield, what will they do to it? What will they turn it into?
They will eventually reprocess it at Sellafield, remove some of the unused uranium, and make use of the other byproducts which will come from the reprocessing.
Can I speak to this guy in the white coat?
By all means, yeah.
I don't know whether I should do. This looks like a touchy part of the operation. How critical is this?
Well, we have to get this runner into these guides.
Right. How often do you get through one of these?
Well, we get 1 flask a week, but very occasionally we get 2 a week.
Right. It fits in there pretty snug, doesn't it?
It depends how much backlog we've got.
Right.
Because obviously we're a bit dependent on British Rail as well. Leaves on the line and the wrong sort of snow, etc.
Is this going by road all the way to Sellafield?
No, it only goes from here up our approach road to the railhead. There's a railhead at the end of our approach road.
And this is the kind of thing that we've seen being smashed to pieces on the television, haven't we? In a train.
We have, yes, there's one of these.
And yet it still comes out unscarred.
That's right, yes.
You'd put your money on that, right?
I put my money on it, yes.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Is this really lethal stuff inside there?
Oh, yes.
I mean, if it did get out, it would really cause some serious damage.
It would, yes.
Yeah. And it would cause serious damage for 1 million years, right? Or am I exaggerating?
I think you're exaggerating a bit there.
Very good. Nearly done,
My
eh?
lifetime and yours. But...
Yes, quite. There we are, safe and sound. Good. So this is now finished. We'll never see this little section of atomic waste again.
That fuel, when it leaves this power station, will never return here again.
Right. But we may come back one day. Who knows? See you next time.